Hey guys, it's Jana, and welcome to your dashboard. Last episode, we got the scoop on jailbreaking headsets, LiDAR for cars, alternate uses for GPUs, and the future of DRAM. It was a pretty packed week, so take a minute to get caught up with the link here. Today, we'll follow up with some more SK Hynix updates, VR patents, and look more at some alternate uses for GPUs. So, let's fire up the dashboard. As we learned last week, GPUs have many applications, some far from their intended function. But let's talk about how they can be used in a professional manner for workstation tasks. There's a ton of gamer benchmarks out there for the new 3000 series cards, but how do they hack it with design apps?
Too soon.
The quick answer to if they can handle these tasks is yes. So let me tell you how. The trick is to strap 4 of these bad boys together in a custom-built workstation, and ta-da, you have a perfectly smooth render farm. Just kidding. There's a few quirks to keep in mind when building a rig like this. First, these units use so much power, and 4 of them together, well, that gets hot.
No.
The guys at Puget Systems adapted Gigabyte's Turbo RTX 3090 blower-style cards, which isn't the way to go for cooling solutions usually, but in a 4-way system. They tested both single and dual power supply configs, but settled on the EVGA Supernova 1600 watt P2, the most powerful consumer-grade PSU you can buy. They tested Octane Bench 2020.15, V-Ray 4.10, Redshift 3.0, and DaVinci Resolve 0.92. In the first couple of tests, 4 RTX 3090 scaled fairly linearly, with each GPU adding 100% performance. However, DaVinci Resolve had issues scaling beyond 3 cards, and it capped at 175% extra performance compared to a single card. Adding a 4th RTX 3090 yielded no performance increase, and with 2 GPUs, it only gained 40% in performance. They cited a possible bottleneck with the 10-core test CPU, as DaVinci Resolve requires more CPU resources than the apps in the arena. Puget tested a few power setups and decided that a dual PSU was better for a 4-way configuration, because a single PSU maxed out at 1600 watts and may shorten the lifespan when running full tilt for prolonged periods of time. Although blower cards aren't usually the first choice for cooling, they kept their cool at an average temperature of 74 degrees Celsius for the top 3 cards and 66 degrees Celsius for the bottom. Puget did observe this setup got pretty noisy, especially under full load. It's an interesting test because it showcased how well the 3090s can perform in a professional or studio environment and in real-world situations.
What world do you live on?
All you need now is $6,000 and a massive case with good airflow, a power circuit that can handle 1600 watts,
Or more.
especially if you're looking for a rig like this. But, it's kind of our thing, so feel free to hit us up or check out our website for more details. As I was saying, GPUs have many uses, and while crypto mining wasn't the initial intention for GPUs per se, it turned into a pretty lucrative side hustle to some. According to the Webernet, there's unreleased AMD blockchain GPUs in the works, so far being referred to as Navi 10 blockchain SKU. So maybe Navi 10 is the foundation of this new GPU? Usually AMD follows more cryptic coding, so this is a bit out of character. The difference with these GPUs is AMD will disable Display Core Next, or DCN, and Video Core Next engines, so these cards will likely arrive without display outputs for a purely headless operation. Navi 10 Silicon is based in AMD's RDNA 1.0 architecture, a product of TSMC's 7nm FinFET manufacturing. With a die size of 251mm, Navi 10 houses up to 10,300 million transistors, giving it 40 compute units, totaling to 2,560 stream processors overall. AMD is already using Navi 10 Silicon for 4 of its Radeon gaming graphics cards, so we're not sure if this is AMD's attempt to fit these blockchain cards into more mainstream models, or if they're just getting rid of leftover Navi Silicon. Sources suggest that the timing of this GPU debut will be sometime next year to discourage crypto miners from snatching up all their mainstream graphics cards. Though Navi is generally more power efficient than Vega or Polaris, we're not sure if they perform the same for crypto mining. Depending on the cryptocurrency you're into, certain algorithms are more compatible with these GPUs. HTC has been pretty quiet since their very confused release of the Vive Cosmos earlier this year. It was kind of easy to overlook them since the whole Facebook Quest 2 Fandango, but still. Recently, an application has been spotted in the FCC HQ, and word on the street is it's a new HTC headset, which goes by the catchy ID of 2Q9R100, which was tested in August, submitted in September, and we're hearing about it now. What we know so far is this. It's a Vive headset. It's from HTC. Yeah, that's it. So here's what we're guessing so far. It's new, which could mean it's an existing product with minor changes. For instance, a new version of the Vive Focus, HTC's standalone headset, but possibly with a new processor like the Snapdragon XR2. And hey, since Christmas is coming, do you think we'll get some new controllers?
Too much to ask.
This FCC filing may reference unannounced but unreleased version of the Cosmos Play or XR, but the FCC label placement doesn't line up with the Cosmos headset we do have. If we really want to get ahead of ourselves, we could say it's the Vive Photon, HTC's next-gen standalone, but I guess we won't know until we know, So stay tuned. Acer has announced they've gone all in on Intel's new Tiger Lake CPU for several product line refreshes like the Swift, Aspire, and Spin, all the way up to their high-end lines like the Concept D7 and Porsche. Integration of the CPUs will generally be the biggest refreshes across the product lines, with some smaller modifications depending on the unit. For example, the Concept D7 will be the only laptop not to feature Intel's 11th gen CPUs. Why? The top-end Tiger Lake H-series CPUs with an extremely high core count haven't arrived yet, so for that they'll stick with the older gen. Acer did upgrade the cooling system so it's more effective and quiet. Across the board, consumers and critics are glad to have the Tiger Lake units integrated as they pair really well with the new Iris Xe graphics card for enhanced performance in these value-oriented products. Seems Intel has been busy too. Just last week we mentioned SK Hynix and their work with DDR5. Well, in a joint press release, Intel announced the exclusive sale of their NAND business memory to SK Hynix for roughly $9 billion. This transfer will be a two-part deal, closing most likely by March 2025. Phase 1 will take place in 2021 once all the T's and C's are final, and SK Hynix will pay Intel the first $7 billion for their SSD business and sole NAND fab in Dalian, China. Intel will continue to develop and manufacture NAND out of their Dalian fab until the deal fully closes in 2025 and SK pays the final $2 billion.
Just hit up Money Mart for that.
At that point, Intel will finally transfer all of their NAND IP and related employees, including the fab employees, to Hynix. We don't know why this is a 4-year thing, but I'm sure they'll comment soon enough. Excluded from this deal, though, is Intel's non-volatile memory solutions group, holding on to their Optane memory tech. This is a big deal for both companies. Intel began as a developer of memory, but didn't reach the success they'd hoped for, especially when their long-standing joint venture with Micron dwindled in 2018 to develop flash memory. Right now, Intel sits just behind SK at the bottom of the top 5 list for the NAND industry.
Meanwhile, in South Korea,
This deal opens up the door for Hynix to scale upwards and challenge rivals.
Samsung,
And Micron. Once closed, Hynix will be the second largest vendor of NAND with over 20% market share in a commodity market that's known for some wild swings. Where this deal really shines for Hynix is Intel's SSD business, and where NAND has a huge presence in the enterprise space, which sets them up even better to take on Samsung in the long run. It's suspected that Intel will invest the proceeds of this M&A to grow their other non-core forward-looking businesses, such as their 5G, AI, and edge efforts. Just 8 weeks and counting for the code red of the century. We are giving away one AMD Ryzen 5000 custom workstation to one lucky fan. If you haven't already, hit the link in the description and make sure you stay tuned for other code red announcements and giveaways. Don't miss a beat, like our episodes, subscribe to our channel, and be sure to follow us on social and check out our product lineup at monolithgroup.ca. I'm Jana, this is Dashboard, and I'll see you next week.